Hey, this is Hunter Wiley with the Kingdom Business Owner. Today I'm with my good friend, Richard Fagerlin. And yes, we talk about business. Yes, we talk about entrepreneurship. But more than that, we talk about winning at home. We talk about fatherhood and marriage and the really good stuff, like the top priorities. So you're going to want to tune in. You're not going to want to miss this with my good friend, Richard Fagerlin. All right. Well, hey, welcome to the Kingdom Business Owner. I'm here with my good friend, Richard Fagerlin. We've been friends for, it feels like a lot of years.
Yeah.
But man, you're a serial entrepreneur, real deal speaker, author. But more than that, man, your legacy is your family and your incredible kids, incredible wife.
Yeah.
Man, I've looked up to you for a lot of years, really admired a lot of things about you. So man, I just feel honored that you be on the Kingdom Business Owner.
Well, thanks, Hunter. I actually feel the same.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, it's mutual.
I appreciate that, man. Offline, before we started on the pod, just ask you, man, what's stirring in your heart? Mm-hmm. And it's interesting. This is the first time we've ever had someone say, man, marriage and family, like over business. Like that's the thing that's stirring. So I'd love to riff on that. But before we do, can you just give our audience that don't know who Richard Fagerlin, can you just give us the 2-3 minute overview of who you are and your testimony?
Yeah, I grew up on the eastern plains of Colorado, small town. Graduated from a class of 40 people, farming, ranching environment, and I was surrounded by a lot of older people. My dad was a PhD animal science guy, so the ranch I grew up on was graduate students from the university.
Wow.
And so I didn't have a lot of kids my age, and so for one, that just explains a little bit of how I see the world and how I interact and why people are so important to me, because they were withheld for so long. There just wasn't a lot of people there. But I grew up in that environment, went to a junior college, went to CSU, got serious about my faith as I was getting married. I was saved. I met the Lord after football practice my senior year.
No way.
Yeah. And didn't really get discipled, didn't really know what that looked like, was like, this is interesting. Got to college, was like foot in, foot out, didn't know. And I met my wife, and the day, the night I met her, I went and told all my roommates. I was like, I met the woman I'm going to marry. And I spent the next 3 months trying to find her. And not that she was the sole impetus for me wanting to get real about my faith. Yeah. It was time. It was time to grow up. It was time to stop being a boy, start being a man. And so anyway, we pursued life together, moved to Kansas City. I worked for a large Fortune 120 something company, had, immediately was thrust into some really, actually, to be honest, some jobs I shouldn't have had.
Fair.
Some responsibility I shouldn't have had. I didn't know it then. If my kids today told me that they were going to take the jobs that I did, I'd be like, oh man, chill, work towards that.
Yeah.
And got exposed to executive leadership at the highest level early on. And I realized that they were no different than anybody else. And so that was helpful. And then really the start of my business and my family and everything, the starting of that all was the 9/11 terrorist attack. Wow. So as that happens, I'm having this what on earth am I here for? What's my purpose? That was when the 40 Days of Purpose book, the Rick Warren.
Oh yeah.
Purpose Driven Life came out, and I'm reading that, and what on earth am I here for? What's my purpose? And I realized that God had given me a gift to understand and see things related to people and related to business that others hadn't. So just prayed on it for a couple of months, went to my wife's counsel, and on November of 2001, just a couple months later, I quit my job. My wife is home with our 18-month-old child at the time. No money, $1,200, $1,500 to our name. Quit my job and decided I'm going to follow this call that God has on my life. And here I am, 24 years later, doing that work and living a pretty great life.
Yeah, you are, man. Well, talk to us about what that work is. What did you jump into?
Yeah. So what I decided to do actually was that I was going to start a consulting firm and do that until I found a real company to buy.
Yeah.
So I'm still looking, I got my eyes open. And what we do is we do leadership development, strategic planning. We do executive coaching. We do a lot of just general consulting on culture. And I rented a little office just down the street from here for $280, and I sat in this little tiny office, and I had a phone, and I'm sitting at my desk, and I got no business, no money. I got to do something, and the phone rang, and I was like, well, who has my number? And I paused, and right before I answered, I just said this little prayer: God, what do you have for me in this call? And then I had the call. It was probably a wrong number. I don't remember who it was. I hung up. And then afterwards, Hunter, I was like, why did I never once in my entire corporate career ever pause before a meeting?
Wow.
Ever pause before a call and say, God, what do you have? And so I was like, what does it mean? I'm making more of the question that you asked.
I love
you
it, man.
Ask, okay. I started thinking, what does it mean to lead a company for Jesus? Like, what does that mean? And so I just got on my phone and I started calling every believer I knew. And I would ask them, what does it mean to run a company for Christ? And they're like, I don't know, call this guy. So I'd call that guy. And he's like, I don't know, call this guy. I don't know, call this guy. And eventually I get introduced to a car dealer of all people. And, say what you will about car dealers, but I walked into this dealership, and there's this, I don't know, 60, 70-year-old man, and you could just sense the Spirit of God in this massive Ford dealership. And I sit down with him, and I'm asking him these questions, and he's telling me, and I'm just hook, line, yes, yes, yes. And then he introduced me to a peer group of other business owners, and it was the Fellowship of Companies for Christ. And I sat down with that group literally within weeks of starting my own business. And really that was a blessing to have that initial framework for what does this look like. And by the way, there was very few, I had like 6 or 7 guys in my group. 5 of them were former pastors. So I'm like getting shepherded.
Come on, dude. Extra level of shepherding.
Yeah. Because I needed it.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so then talk to us about the journey from there. You joined this group, and then you've been scaling this company for the last 20 years?
Yeah.
20 plus years.
24 years, yeah. Yeah, I initially I knew that I wasn't building something necessarily for sale, and I wasn't building something for like massive wealth. I just wanted to help people love what they do and who they do it with. And I knew that God's economy is better than our economy.
Come on.
And that the more I do that, the more he's going to bless. And of course I want to make a ton of money, because it's a great indication of what service you're doing to your clients and those that you care for. But for the first 6 or 7 years, I just literally was getting my legs under me. Like, what does this mean? What am I doing? What wants to happen? What wants to happen out there? An interesting thing is that at that time early on, I felt like a business owner was like the lowest rung on the Jesus ladder.
The
like
JV Christian.
Yes, JV Christian, like C-team.
Yeah.
Like trying to like, you have like mismatched uniform.
You don't even have Jordans on.
Right?
Yeah.
No. Sure fine shoes, And so like the lowest rung is like a business person, and Jesus is the top. And then like from the top, it comes down like a martyred missionary, like a missionary in a really, really bad area, then like a missionary in a nice area, and then a pastor, and then like, someone for the church, and then a parachurch, and then like teachers and like moms. And then at the very bottom of this ladder is a Jesus following business owner or business person. And, in this process, I learned that the ladder doesn't go like this. The ladder goes like this.
Come on, dude.
And that we're all equal. And I felt like evangelism had to be my ministry, because that's what Jesus followers do. But God did not gift me with the gift of evangelism. He gifted me as a prophet and a teacher. And so what I realized is I'm not out there to win souls to Jesus. I'm out there to pastor the saints in the workforce. And that's what God has gifted me over the years. Is I don't go looking for Christians to work with, but they find me when I'm working there. And it's a beautiful bonus of this work.
Unreal, man. Unreal. Man, I resonate with that. So for most of my life, I've felt like a JV Christian, because I always, I have an apostolic gifting, so I need to go work in the church and I need to teach, and that's the way that I can serve God the best. And I think the thing that shifted for me, man, is like, God had put me on this earth to create and to be in the trenches with people. And that's it. I don't need to have a cross on my logo and like be super Jesus-y, Christianese all the time in my business.
Matter of fact, don't.
Yeah,
to
amen.
Be honest,
Please don't. Just
it
provide
gives
an
it a
excellent
bad name.
It gives it a bad name. Provide an excellent service and an excellent product, and hire the best people. And also, you don't just have to have a business that makes a lot of money so you can just give it all away. Like, yes, we want to be generous and cheerful givers, but also like God created us to called us to create.
Yeah.
And so like that is God honoring.
Yeah.
And building a business that is excellent is God honoring.
Right.
And is holy ground, just like being a pastor is.
Yeah. I think it's Tim Keller's Every Good Endeavor is a great book about this. And he talks about like in the arts, in the business, in whatever, you should see something beautiful and think, oh, a Christian built that. Or you should listen to something amazing and go, oh, a Christian wrote that.
Yes.
Or you should experience something beyond measure, and he's like, oh, a Christian served me in that way, because we are to serve the Lord as though serve everyone as though we're serving the Lord, not man.
Come on.
And you know that whole thing. By the way, the verse right before that says, "Children, obey your parents," and everything. So like those things go hand in hand.
Yeah, come on, man. That's so good. That's so good. Talk to us about your evolution of walking with Jesus in the marketplace over the last 24 years of running this company.
Yeah.
Because you're definitely being humble about what your organization is, man. You serve massive companies. You serve, companies that are changing the world, and you're consulting and leading them. So it's not like you're just, working for just small mom and pops. You do that, but you're also serving big organizations. So as you've scaled this thing to be what it is, man, how has your relationship with Jesus changed?
Well, I one thing I've learned over time is that all truth is God's truth, and that the Christianese is like Christian euphemisms or platitudes are unappealing. They are like sour when you're needing something sweet. And so what I learned is this reliance on the Lord in all things at all times.
Yeah.
Like anytime I've relied on my own strength, my own understanding, I get tired. I get worn out. I mess up. And oftentimes my prayer before I do anything is, God, just empty me of myself. Because I'm a lot.
Yeah.
You ask my wife, she's like, she just sometimes needs a little decaf rich. and my kids need a little decaf, and maybe even my clients. And so it's like, what needs to happen right now? What is wise? What's the wise thing to do? And this was easier, Hunter, it was easier in 2001, 2, 3. I'm, in my early 30s. I don't really know what's going on. I'm around these leaders who've been leading, titans of industry for, 20, 30, sometimes as long as I've been alive.
Yeah.
And so what was helpful is I didn't know what the heck I was doing. So instead I had to turn around and be Socratic and ask them questions and draw it out of them. And so today I know more things. And it's easier to like, okay, do this, do that, do this. But people don't want to be told what to do. They want to discover for themselves. And I feel like what the Lord has helped us to do in our business today is to transfer agency to those who need the agency, to put the weight where the weight needs to go.
So good.
And really only through his principles. And so I did some work for Focus on the Family and Compassion International, like some of the largest ministries that are even there. And, they rely on true business principles. And there's definitely an outward reliance on Jesus, and you're not having to like hide it behind anything. But the principles that help make Compassion an amazing ministry are the same ones that make one of the largest food companies in the world we work with do that, or aerospace and manufacturing company. So part of this, my reliance on Jesus what's the saying? You can preach the gospel and sometimes use words.
Yeah.
Like let your actions be the thing that leads you there. So like humbling yourself, emptying yourself, seeing what wants to happen, letting the Spirit guide you. I'm not built for that.
Yeah.
I'm not naturally built for that. So I think God just continually humbles me in that. And every time I'm worn out and tired, I can look back to, I was carrying the weight.
That's so good. And I've also seen that ever since I've known you, you still walk with that level, even though from the outside it looks like you've quote unquote made it, but you still walk with this like humility of asking questions and wanting to learn, which I think is probably what's made you so successful, is walking in that of like, man, I want to be in rooms of really smart people and ask dumb questions so I can learn.
Yeah.
And that's the mark of every true leader that I know, is that level of humility.
Yeah.
So that's really good, man. I want to transition a little bit here. You know, you have quite the legacy, and yeah, you know, you're running a great company and you've served a lot of people, but your legacy really has been your family. Talk to us about your family, and also just, man, how do we as kingdom business owners not make idols out of our companies, not absolutely blow up our marriages because of how soul-sucking business can be at times?
Yeah.
How do we balance that out? Talk to us about your journey.
You know, I'm learning this every single day, and I remember being 7 or 8 years old, and like on my bike out on the dirt roads of the ranch I lived on, and thinking, I want to do this differently. And it wasn't like my family was terrible. I just was like, I want to do this differently. And when I met my wife, she came from, you know, a really not great family background, and just in our dating, we were like, we want to do this differently. So from day one, I had a partner in this that was like, we're going to do this different.
Come on.
And when our first son was born, first book I read on parenting, the very first sentence of the first paragraph of the first chapter says, if you want to give your kids the best, you give them a relationship with your spouse. That's number one. And we decided day one, we want to have a marriage-centered home, not a kid-centered home.
Yes.
Now, if you look at our checkbook or the energy or where our car has gone, you question whether that is.
Sure.
But it's like, you know, more times than not, I'm peeling off time with them so that I can go be with her and invest in her. And for the 27 years we've been married, we constantly are investing in each other, and I don't think a quarter has gone by. I don't think 3 or 4 months have gone by in 27 years where we haven't gotten away some way. Like, we're not great about the weekly date
Sure.
nights, but we absolutely crush the long weekends and the time together, because we care for each other and we love each other and we support each other. So as my kids were being raised, we have 4 boys, and they're 10 years apart, from 25 to 15. And when I started Peak Solutions, I started it on Monday. I quit my job on Monday of Thanksgiving. So it was November after 9/11. Quit my job on Monday, and on Wednesday I found out we were pregnant. She gives me a happy Thanksgiving. And I'm like, bro, this was not on the business plan. This is not. And so Preston, who turns 23 in a few weeks, he gets tired of me saying this every year on his birthday. I'm like, you know, God gave you, and he's like, I know, for a purpose, you know. But I think that was a gift in the first year of our business. We get this surprise pregnancy, and I'm like, I want to win here.
Yes.
And part of it was I had exposure to a lot of older people early on, and I'm looking at their families, and I'm like, you kids hate you.
Yeah.
Your kids are a mess. An employee assistance program, like a lot of insurance have access to counseling benefits, and one of the number one users of counseling benefits in an employee assistance program are the children of executives.
Wow. And
you see these folks, and there's jokes in industries like, if you're not on your 3rd marriage, you're not trying hard enough. And I'm like, I don't care to have that.
Yeah.
And if that's what it takes, I'm out. And I have said from day one, if the reason I exist is for 5 things: it's Christy, Christian, Preston, Jackson, Lincoln.
Come on.
And it's that. And if this business is negatively affecting this, I'll slit its throat, because this is what lasts. And part of it is, for, you know, almost 30 years, I've been around people who didn't make that choice. You know, business will eat you alive. You know, a lot of times people will say, you know, I own a business. And I'm like, do you own the business, or does it own you?
Right.
And business owners are crazy. Like, it's a strange group of people. Like, they think they're the smartest people in the room. And unfortunately for them, sometimes they are.
Right.
And it's like, they don't play well with others. That's why they're doing things on their own. And so there's this beauty of a business owner, and then there's this total dysfunction. And without surrounding yourself with people that are willing to show you who you are and how you look and how you're showing up and where your strengths are and where your failures are, without people like sharpening you, that iron sharpening iron, that's why the Foundry is so important. And having those peer networks is so important, because if you're left to yourself, you're going to start reading your own fan mail.
Yeah.
And by the way, guess where you get your kudos? Get your kudos in your accounts receivable and your customer reviews from your staff, from your vendors, and everyone around you telling you what a king you are. And then you go home and it's like, it's like I tell my wife all the time, I'm like, I know you don't like my advice, but I get paid really good money to tell people these things. And she's like, go put your crap away. Stop leaving a mess.
Right.
Trim your nose hairs, and I'm like, my clients don't do that. Like,
right.
I was just in front of 8,000 people and, I got standing ovation. And she's like, yeah, here's reality. And so like, it's not that you need to be beat up, and it's not that you need to be humbled. You need to be humble. And, a lot of times, and this is a struggle that my wife and I've had over the years. She's, for a lot of times, I think if she was here, she would even say that there was times that she felt like it was her job to humble me. And, probably in the last 5 or 6 years, there's been a major transition, and she's like, it's the Lord's job to humble you. It's my job to help you and support you and help you see that. So we've had ups and downs in that.
Yeah, of course, man. When you started to feel the tug at times, I'm sure over the last 24 years, where the business is just demanding more of you than you could give it. How did you balance that out?
Yeah.
Like, do you believe in balance? Do you believe in integration? Like,
no.
What does that look like?
There's no such thing as balance. I stole this from Jack Welch, who used to be the CEO of General Electric. We were both speaking at a conference together, and I'm listening to him, and he said, there's no such thing as work-life balance. It's work-life sacrifice. And if you want to be really great in your business, you're going to have to sacrifice your personal life. If you want to be really great in your personal life, you're going to have to sacrifice your work life. And this whole idea that you can have it all, I think all of us have been told this lie. The women in our life, especially, have been told this lie. You can't have it. You can have it all. You just can't have it all at once. And so Christy and I, my wife, we follow this. I call it the 21 days of balance. And so in any 21-day period, we can be out of balance. I could be gone maybe even for 21 days. But on the 21st, 22nd, 23rd day, things break. Matter of fact, they start breaking at about 15.
Yeah.
And so I think it's important for everybody to figure out what that balance looks like.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that they can go to their 10-day, Caribbean vacation every June and it puts everything back in whack.
Right,
and maybe it can.
Right.
But like, that's like working out first 3 weeks of January. And it's like, okay,
I'm good to
I'm
go.
done.
Yeah.
It's like, no, you got to hit that thing.
Yeah.
You got to hit that thing on the regular.
Yeah.
And there's got to be pain and sacrifice. And you have to, you have 100% of your time. You got to start taking things away from one area to give to the other if you want to grow. So over the years, that's what we've done. There's been times where it's like, this is a growth time. This is a sacrifice time. I need to pour into work more than I do home.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot, not everyone's built like we've been built, but there's been times where my wife's been mom and dad.
Yeah.
She's carried that burden. And then one of the things about 12, 13 years ago, I used to have an office downtown that I would go to, and my kids are young, and I wanted to volunteer in their school, and like the extra 20-minute drive to school and then 21 minutes back to the office and the expense related, she's like, why don't you work from home? And like 10, 15 years ago, that wasn't a thing. Like you didn't do that. 24 years ago when I started, you did not do that. And so I decided at that point, we just made a call. If I'm not face-to-face with the client, if I'm not on a project, that we were going to make it so that I could be home. And so we sold our house, sold the office. We moved into a bigger place where I could have myself there. And so for me, when I'm working, I'm working. And when I'm not, I'm not. And so I had 88 days last year that I was away from home for personal reasons. Like visiting my kids, going on trips with my wife, basically following my family around certain things.
So good.
And and so I'm learning to sacrifice this. And so to this day, we sit down regularly and we look at the calendar and it's like, where are we out of whack and where we need to block off time.
So good. So
my calendar right now has 2026 spring break. My kids are, all of them have been college athletes. I know their events. I know I have the whole fall, like where those are going to be and what that's going to look like, and can we make them? And so I just put it on the calendar first.
Yeah.
And then if I have to take it, if I have to like replace it, then I have to replace it. But I put my personal stuff first.
That's really good. Over the last 24 years of being an entrepreneur and raising these babies and being a husband, what's the biggest regret?
I take things pretty serious and I get wrapped around certain things. And my biggest regret is how I spoke to my kids. I would get angry and I would raise my voice and I would take personally what they were doing. And if I could go back to the times I would take them into the bathroom for their discipline, I would have, my wife uses this analogy. She's like, throw the flag, mark the yards off, and get back in the game. But instead, I like throw the flag, mark the yards, have a speech, put on a TED Talk, you scream and holler, and then they take, the next play, and I'm back on it. And if I could go back, as a grandpa, I'm gonna crush it.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to do that. But I regret the anger. I don't have regrets about missing anything. I don't have regrets about being gone. I was gone a lot. Like, people look at my life and like, oh my gosh, you're gone a lot.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you have any idea how much I'm present? Like, I take a month off every summer and have for over 10 years. And so, I'm gone, but it's this trade-off. It's the sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. How do you walk in presentness? I've struggled with that so much, man, and like how I show up, because I have the freedom and the flexibility of what it means to be an entrepreneur. And I get to like show up to things that I want to and not show up to things that I don't want to. But I have felt like even when I'm at my son's soccer game, it's hard for me to like even turn off the business.
Yeah.
So how have you learned to do that over the years?
Well, I think that there's people who have predistributed to being good at that.
Yeah.
And then those that are not.
Yeah.
So like, if someone's natural at that, you can't like, well, what do you do? It's like, well, I don't know. God, go back to your womb and ask God for different traits, but for one, I am not afraid of failure, and I do everything. I want to do everything with excellence. I absolutely do. But I go back to that. Like, if this thing's, crushing my family, then that's no good. So I've fired clients. I've said no to clients. I have traded time and money. Like, part of what I've done is, over the years, I've maybe had staff in areas where I didn't have enough business for that, but that staff allowed me to have more time. And so I'm like, going to trade this time for some money. And then, if my wife was here, she might have a different take on this, because these phones, like, you go everywhere and everything is with you.
Yeah.
And she would tell me that I'm not as present as I think that I am, but I don't feel like every email needs to be returned in 4 hours and every text message responded to. And, I don't feel like I have to have every coffee meeting with everybody that wants to have one. Matter of fact, part of it early on, I said, if it doesn't affect my business, my family, or my faith, I don't do it. I don't have time.
Yeah. That's real, man.
So I don't have hobbies. I didn't exercise as much as I probably should have in that time. That now looking back, like, okay, that could affect my family.
Sure.
But I just was relentless about this. I didn't get involved in certain things.
Yeah.
We didn't volunteer at certain things. We didn't participate in certain things. My kids weren't allowed to do certain things, because it's like, we're gonna protect this. And now I have a little more time, and so I'm able to expand that a little bit more. I can give a little more in some areas, but I protected it with my life.
Yeah, man, that's so good. Well, even with the regret that you have, which I feel like every parent most likely has that type of regret, man, the grace of God is over your family. Like your kids are incredible, man. So you did something exceptionally well to raise the kids that you have. So I know that a lot of the people that are listening are entrepreneurs that have young kids, and they're like in the thick of raising a business and building a business and also raising and building kids. What advice would you give them?
Yeah. This sounds like a joke, but it's not. My number one advice is to marry right. And I'm dead serious about that. My kids, I get as much compliments about my kids and their character and who they are. And it is 90% their mother. And I had something to do with it, but I just had something to do with it. It's like you've got to have a partner that's willing to do that. So work-life sacrifice, she sacrificed her professional gain and career to be able to be a CEO of our family.
Come on.
And she poured into them. So there's that. Number two is like little kids, like get on your knee, look in their eyes. When they ask questions, answer them, all of them. All of them.
Yes.
You know, you want to have, like we just spent 8 days with our family in Italy, and I got to watch my adult children, and one of them's married, and that's amazing. I couldn't love his wife anymore. And I got to sit back and watch them as, you know, adults. And I'm looking at the conversations we're having with them and the things that they're asking me. And I can go back in time and I can say when they were 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10, listening to their stories, answering their questions, hearing their heart.
Come on. That's
what programmed this thing into the future. And so a lot of times we don't have time for this. You know what? Your house is dirty. Let it be dirty. You know, your emails aren't complete. Let them be not complete. Like this is what's important.
Yes.
And let them know that there's boundaries. You know, like the time away that we have. When they were younger, they used to like, why are you guys going? Don't you care about us? And I was like, I don't care about you as much as I care about your mom. And they'd laugh and she's like, no, I love you. I'm like, no, I love you more than them. I do.
Yeah, like sorry.
You're more important. You're more important than they are. They're important, but then they saw me investing in her. And now watching my son invest in his wife, oh, it's good.
So good, man. So good. That's real legacy right there, man. It's not the business.
Right.
It's that.
Yeah.
Yeah. What would, to land the plane a little bit, man, what would you implore or exalt in a kingdom business owner that's like, man, I'm loving everything I'm hearing. Like, what would you implore them to do? What's like the number one thing that's resonating in your heart right now that would be an encouragement to them?
Yeah, I think that I think excellence. I think you got to define excellence and ask God what that is, and where do you need it, and where are you overdoing it? Like I think that there's I call it the give a crap meter, and a give a crap meter needs to be right at 12 and 6 o'clock on the clock. And sometimes we give too much crap about things, and sometimes we don't give enough crap about things. I know that's very deeply theological and technical, but I would implore them to figure out where are you giving too much and where you're not giving enough, and just, you know, go around tweaking and right sizing those. And sometimes you're the worst person to answer that question. You know, ask people around you. You know, if I were to disappear tomorrow, who would run this thing? What would happen? I think a lot of times people feel trapped. I have an awesome brother that was part of that business Bible study I was a part of. We've watched our families grow up together, and he's a superhero to me in the faith. And he was about to get rid of his business years ago. And he sat down and he's like, okay, what needs to be true for me to still love this business and to work in it? He's like, well, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. He's like, all right, I got to find someone to do that or get rid of that. And I love this, love that. And I want to be able to do this. And he just created this, like all these things that needed to be true in order for him to stay as an owner of that business. And then he spent the next year doing it. And now he's crushing. This is like 15 years ago, 10 years ago.
Wow.
And he's doing a great job. And so I think that, you know, right sizing, tweaking, constantly asking, and then how can you make it work for you versus you working for it? I think
so
it's a big,
good.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Because I think so many people say that, hey, this is my top priority. My top priority is my family, and then my faith, and then like they say that, but they're give a crap meters are way off and they're doing stuff that they shouldn't be doing, and like their lives don't match up with what they're saying.
Yes.
And I'm guilty of this all the time.
Yeah.
So man, that's good. How have you done that? How have you looked at your like give a crap meters and tweaked that?
Well, that's why I take that month off in the summer.
Yes.
It's like that's where my kids are isolated the most, where they've got freedom and I can have freedom. And living in Colorado, why wouldn't you want to spend more time doing things? And so then coming into those months off, it's hard.
Yeah.
And coming out, it can be hard, but I'll bear that burden.
Yeah.
So that I can have this time. And by the way, we don't treat it like, all right, now let's go to Yellowstone and get on a 10,000 mile, like we just live life regular.
Yeah.
and enjoy things. And
are you literally turning your email off? Like notifications are off?
At 20 years in, I did a legitimate sabbatical where I did all that. I didn't touch anything
For the whole month?
It was like 6-7 weeks. The problem for me is I extended that. I mean, when I did come back from work, I was like, I kind of checked out for too long and everything suffered. And so I work-life sacrifice, I swung the pendulum, and then it had about a 6 to 8 month wrecking ball that finally caught up with me. And so then I was sucking gas for a full year trying to catch up. So it was like, I did that.
Yeah.
Now when I do it, I'll check in on email. I'll have a call from here and there. It's not like some legalistic, I'm not going to check because I can check out throughout the year.
Right.
Like one thing, I have this, I don't know if it's a spiritual gift, a superhuman strength, or I don't have my give a crap meter in the right order, but I can shut it off. I can do that. I'm not, I don't have a problem sitting down, watching a show with the kids or going on a walk or having dinner where like my mind's racing about something.
Yeah.
I've been able to balance that pretty well.
Yeah.
Like B minus.
That's it, man. That's convicting. That's convicting, man. I feel like there's probably some people listening that are like, I never even thought of doing something like that. But I also love and appreciate the non-legalistic nature of letting the ground rest a little bit. Like you can still check in on the soil and make sure it's all good, but letting the ground rest, when you need to, even if it's once a year, but not just completely checking out.
Right.
Yeah, that's encouraging, man.
Right.
Richard Fagerlin, thanks so much, man, for being on The Kingdom Business Owner. I feel super honored and grateful for you. Seriously.
My pleasure. Yeah.
Boom.